Welcome back to the Let's Go Outside podcast. Today I'm chatting with Eleanor from Design to Explore. You may remember her from episode 15 where she shared what it's like to live on a sailboat in French Polynesia with 2 young kids, and she is back. I had to have her back on because this past summer her family went on a 6-week bikepacking trip in Kyrgyzstan, and honestly, all her videos were just unbelievably beautiful and wild. It made me want to go there and be there with them. So she shared all about that and how her 7-year-old rose to the challenge of biking on her own bike for this trek. This isn't something that they just started doing. They have been doing a bikepacking for a long time, and since their kids were little and even in the womb. And so it's just so fascinating to hear from her as an expert bike packer. I also shared about my first bike packing trip that we did this fall, and then I had to hear about her biking while pregnant because I'm pregnant right now. And so she shared about biking the Continental Divide, which blew my mind that she biked. I mean, just wait for it. It's kind of insane and amazing. So if bikepacking is something that interests you or you're dreaming about, this is such good chat and inspirational and incredible. So let's dive in. Welcome to Let's Go Outside, a podcast bringing moms together to chat about the raw, unfiltered reality of doing the exploring we love after having kids. No matter your comfort level of adventuring with the little ones, this is a space to have honest conversations about the real struggles of getting out the door with the kiddos. I'm Danica, a mama living in a small mountain town who's totally obsessed with healthy food and taking my kids outside every single day. I professionally guided backpacking trips in the Canadian Rockies, and I'm certified as a Leave No Trace instructor. On the show, you'll hear real experiences from other moms, plus tips on gear, trail snacks, and the best practices in the wilderness. Whether it's hiking, camping, backpacking, skiing, or traveling the world you want to do more of, this is your place to learn, find encouragement, and strip away any comparison. Come embrace both motherhood and the outdoors. Stick around. This is your place. Welcome to the Outdoor Mom Club. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm at episode 25, I think.
Oh my God, amazing.
So it's almost been a year.
Incredible. What consistency, what hard work.
It's been so fun.
Do you love it?
I love chatting with everyone and talking and making the connection and networking is so fun. Yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, I feel like you've gotten such a good tribe of people on too.
Aw, that's good that you feel that way. I feel that way also. I'm just
so
thankful. And it's been so fun now going on to Instagram and being I know you. We had a chat and just knowing people so much more than just seeing their photos, actually having a conversation like this has been so fun for me.
Yeah, amazing. I would love it too.
Well, and now you've hosted all these ladies on your boat.
Yeah, and I guess it's the same thing, right? You get to have these people that you just are friends with on Instagram and have long extended time with them. And the women's trip was, of course, particularly special because you just take a bunch of moms, you could put us in a parking lot and we'd be stoked.
So true. So how many people came on the trip, and you went and saw whales? Tell us a little bit more about what it looked like.
Okay, so there is 10 women. So there's a full boat. Usually when we host a trip, our family is on the boat. So it's kind of about friendship and showing people local stuff. But it was a very different thing. So the kids and everyone was off the boat. It was just me and 10 women. And we just played. And then we had 3 days of going out swimming with the whales. So the humpback whales migrate here every year. And they come here to give birth and stay with the babies for about 3 months, which is crazy because the moms fast the entire time. There's no food for them here. Meanwhile, they're producing thousands of gallons of milk. But and it sounds like a wild number, but Dave and I actually did the calculation based on how much milk I make a day per volume of me and my baby. It's actually volumely equivalent, which I thought was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, swimming with the whales is so special. I mean, there's a connection, like a mammalian connection, because you see the mothers and their babies. Like, it didn't happen actually on the women's trip, but there was another time we were out with them, and the baby was like playing and really interested in swimming with us and would like swim towards us, like to the point that we were swimming away, which is like really fun and exciting. And you swim away, and then the mom would come over and like kind of, push them in the right direction to go back and was trying to swim away. And then the baby would kind of break off again and come back to us. And the mom would turn around again and come back and like push the baby around the other way and be like, we're leaving now. And then the baby started swimming off. And then again, it broke off to the point that the mom came under him and like lifted him out of the water. And you could hear the baby being like, but he's just so, I mean, he's so relatable.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
I love
Or even like the moms will rest on the bottom of the ocean, and the babies will just be playing while they're taking a break, which is also relatable. And so they just sit down there, and that's kind of the best because it takes an adult about 20 minutes between breaths, but the babies need to breathe every 5 minutes. And sometimes they just get the zoomies and they're going crazy and they're like jumping and breaching and or just coming up to the surface and like slapping their tail and 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 just being wild. And that's also again like this incredibly relatable moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that when nature just
So
speaks to you.
like we're all the same and interrelated no matter what we look like. Pretty cool. Yeah, so the women, we did 3 days of swimming with them. And then the rest of the time we just did activities. We were only in one island. We were in Moorea, and so we just did activities around here. And the winds were wild, but it was great. Everyone was up for like shenanigans and just going with it and having a good time. And it was great. It was a wonderful trip.
And did
Yeah.
you share cooking?
I've always no, we didn't do shared cooking. It was retreat. So I was the chef of the boat, which is a role I totally enjoy, especially with the moms. I mean, everyone is offering to like help do dishes or help clean up, but I'm like, girl, you just take a break.
Yeah.
And in a way, like not having my family on board was a bit of a break too. Even if I was doing
Where were
stuff
they?
nonstop. They're at an Airbnb.
Okay.
So Dave came to the boat like almost every day to help with like just the operation. And I saw the kids once like on a beach and it was okay. But they were happy. We have people aboard who take care of them. So they were in a happy spot too.
Good. Okay. Good to hear. It's totally a switch from what you're used to is hosting the families and doing life alongside them to switch to like a retreat style. My family's not here, but I feel like this is also what's so important and both is so good, right? I think just having that time to do a time with the women and bring people together and see the importance of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always wanted to go on a women's retreat, but like obviously I have a 2-year-old and it just doesn't feel like the right moment in my life to do that. So it was awesome to bring it to me. That worked out really well.
Yeah, so good. And are you having a lot of families on the boat right now?
Yeah, it's been a lot of couples and a lot of families. And next year is like half full, I want to say. So we've got a couple of really amazing trips set and then a couple of amazing trips open, which I hope really do fill because it's like such special places. Yeah, so it's good.
You have your routes planned out for the next year.
Yes. Yeah, we have the whole calendar for next year. And actually in January, we try to stay a year ahead, which is extremely challenging for us. Like
Impressive.
to make a commitment a year in advance. You're like, but thankfully we can change a little bit here and there. But as we're learning more about like the boat life, we kind of actually have a really good idea of what's going to work well for our schedule. And we're trying to like transition our life more to a 50-50 of biking, boating or 60-40 or whatever, but like some sort of balance between those two things. So we're working it out. We're figuring it out every year. And next year we did not do it right, but that's okay. That's okay. It'll be fine.
Let's talk about biking.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You tell me about biking. You went on your first bikepacking trip.
I know. It was, yes, I need to tell you. It was a really good trip. It was so hard. I would not take the bike I took again being this pregnant because I was 6 months pregnant and I was on my mountain bike and so I was like hunched over and my seat was just really bad. To be honest, I hadn't biked in like a couple months. And then I was like, I can do
Okay.
this, it's fine. It was a 2% grade the whole entire time. So the chillest, most fun, like gradual uphill. It was a beautiful trail. And we did around 20 kilometers a day, which
Okay. Great.
was good. But yeah, I think it took us like 6 hours the second day to do it. It was yeah, it was an old train track that they recovered and made into this trail. And so it was
Okay.
beautiful. And then once you get to the top of the pass, it's 2 days downhill. So that was like so fun, amazing. I could just stand on my bike and just glide down. And Daniel
Glorious.
literally was the pack horse. Like he had the chariot with clay in it, and we had like strapped all our gear also in the chariot and in the back, and then we had 4 panniers on his bike that he had also full. And so, and I had like a mini backpack. And then some days I switched with my mom, and she had an e-bike,
Oh my
which
gosh.
was lovely. So, yeah,
Yeah. Sounds great. It's like just
I
what you
know.
want. You're on an e-bike with a backpack, and everything
Yes,
else just comes for you.
I know. I got off lucky because I was pregnant, but it was honestly really hard, really fun. We loved just like getting a taste of it and seeing how far you could go on a bike
Yeah.
was just so cool. You know, you just are like, okay, what else could we do? What other trails, or like how could we make this work more? So anyways, I think we had to put ourselves out there and realize like, okay, I would need a different seat, I would want a different bike, but it's so possible and it's so fun and you can just go so much further. So yeah, I'm sold.
Hmm. Compared to walking, I feel like, or hiking, I guess, it's just the perfect pace. You know, you can get places, take care. Yeah, I don't know. It just opens up. Like you can go on these like really rough and remote and natural immersions, but then you can come and do like a stint in a city for a bit and then get back out there fairly easily once you have a bike.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what it was called, but Koa, my 5-year-old, was on like a hard frame that's attached to. Well, he was actually with
I would
me.
tag
So
along.
is that a tag along?
Yeah, it's like attached to the back of your bike at your stem.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know the word for this. Okay. He was on a tag along and he just loved that. He'd never, it was like, well, we're just going to try it out today as we start the trip. We're just like,
Oh, cool.
so, like, let's just go with it. And he loved
Oh,
it.
wait, was it attached at the wheels or was it attached to your stem?
My stem. Yeah.
Okay, okay, tag along. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just unsure if he would like it though, because he gets pretty upset when he's not in the front. Like he doesn't like being in the back.
Mm,
But I think
yeah.
just being constantly with me, or he's with somebody and it's teamwork and we're doing it together. He loved that. And so that worked so, so well because he would not have been able to bike 20 kilometers. So that was really great. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I'm so glad he liked that. And you can chat out. So you didn't have it like completely easy. He was with you. So that's something.
I feel like he was pushing me, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, it was so fun. It was like, you pedal harder. I can feel you push me. And the fun part is where we were, it's called Western and Columbia Rail Trail, if anyone's interested in British Columbia. And it's got all these old train trestle bridges and tunnels. And it was just, that's so fun to do with your kids. And it's so cool
Yeah.
for adults too. But putting headlamps on and going through a 1 kilometer cave was like so cool.
Yes, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, and there's just so much variety to trails like that.
Yeah, yeah. So, so cool. So, yes. Okay, we wanted to talk on this podcast today about your trip to Kyrgyzstan, and I want to know
Let's
where the vision came from.
Well, you know what? Dave and I, this isn't our first time bike packing. We biked across Mongolia like before kids, maybe 10 years ago. And I just in love with that part of the world. You know, it's so beautiful. I just love being in this countryside where it's just these rolling hills and there's not really roads, there's just paths and you kind of point yourself in the direction you want to go to and eventually you get to a town and the culture is very intact and really special. And so we just were in love with that part of the world. And we're like, we're definitely going to come back here one day. And there's a super famous race in Kyrgyzstan, the Silk Mountain Road Race. Are you familiar with it?
You have mentioned it before, but I'm not familiar with it.
And you should follow it. You would, it would,
Okay.
fill your cup. There's some amazing women who compete in that event, and but it's just stunning, like you see all the pictures of all these bike packers out there, and it's definitely a very intense race in terms of provisions. It's really tricky, but actually that wasn't what our experience was, but it's just so stunning. I mean, I think you're out there and it's just everything you're looking for when you're backpacking. It's culture and nature and a hefty serving of self-reliance, and yeah, and pushing yourself in challenges. And for us at this age with the kids, we're always looking for places that are really kind of out there, which seems counterintuitive, but we always want to be able to stop at a moment's notice. Like, kids are done, we're done. Let's put up the tent right here. It's great.
Wow.
Because, if you're like, oh, we've got to go another like 5 miles to get to a town, and then we've got to find some place to camp and this and that and the other thing. I mean, that drags out a lot, and that can take up a huge part of your day, really. And we do not want that to be the focus at all. It's just hanging out, being outside, and doing some biking. And so yeah. So if Kyrgyzstan was our number one pick, and then we went through like every other route in the entire world, which was more sensible to take two small children on. And in the end, we kind of just decided that we wanted to go where we wanted to go, and it would work out. So, and it did. So that was really good. Kind
That's
of.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you went into the trip, how much planning did you do beforehand? And tell us about kind of the prep work.
Well, there's quite a lot of information about Kyrgyzstan out there because of the road race,
Okay.
and there's only most of the bikers are doing like two or three routes, just two or three routes to pick from. And basically, we always start with like looking at the route. It's on bikepacking.com. It's not the Silk Mountain Road Race route, but it was the Tian Shan Traverse. There's two major routes in Kyrgyzstan that most people do, and we looked at both of them. And there's loads of notes from other bikers who've gone before you, so we can take that. We literally just track the elevation. So when you start, most people start in Bishkek, and it's this huge climb, a giant pass at the top. Like, healthy bikers get altitude sickness from it on the come down.
Wow.
So we're like, we're going to skip that. We're going to hitchhike to the other side of that pass, and we're going to start on the downhill. So it's stuff like that, it's just like knowing what the conditions of the route are going to be going into it. We also chart our restocking points, and like imagine it going at the slowest pace we possibly can go at, which would be 10 miles a day. How many days between our restock, right? And like we know we can carry about 4 to 5 days of food with us for our family. Yeah, and like we look at the route and we're like, is there any point that that's going to push that, and what are the consequences of it, and can we hitchhike? Is it too remote? Like, what's it going to look like? And sometimes you can get that information, and I think this is true for like every adventure, no matter how much you plan it and think you know about it. When you get out there, that's what makes it an adventure, that like anything could happen.
Yes. Wow.
um,
Okay. When you
and we
posted a
knew like,
map,
yeah.
when you posted a map of where you were kind of thinking of going, it looked like a spider. Like it looked like kind of a home base, and then maybe there was like a lot of points out from there. Like it didn't look like a through bike ride. Is that correct?
I don't remember
Okay.
what we posted, but I mean, it should have been a loop.
Oh, it was. Okay, okay. I did not see the loop. I could not see it, but okay. So I was just curious if you did a loop or if you had like a home point and went out from there. Okay.
We did end up doing an out and back at one point. We all got really sick. I mean, when we arrived, 80 started coughing, and we figured, oh, it's just some like airplane something, and she would shake it off. But then it spread to me, and it spread to Dave, and we were, if I ever include any audio on any video from Kyrgyzstan, we're like, everyone was just hacking and quite sick. At one point I was coughing. This is probably not, should not be included in your podcast, but at one point I was coughing so much. Julian's potty trained, but we bring diapers at night because in the tent it's like too consequential if he pees in his like sleeping bag on the top of a mountain pass where it's snowing, and we don't have access to water to like clean things out. So anyway, I used one of his diapers like on me because I was coughing so violently. I was just like pissing myself constantly. I was like, I don't know what to do in this situation. Like, and that made it obviously extremely hard. So at some point we decided like we needed to get off the route and we needed to go get medicine. We needed to get some sort of like decongestant or like an antibiotic. We didn't really know, but we needed to go get help. So we ended up leaving the route earlier than we wanted, but it had to be done. And then from there we just sort of pivoted where we were going. And that was okay. I mean, it definitely left this feeling of like both FOMO and like unfinished business. So we're gonna have to go back and sort that out one day. But and it was still like beautiful and amazing. And we went through some of the most incredible landscapes and cried and had some of the most intense challenges, even not on the hard route. So I still got the emotional experience I was looking for.
Wow. It sounded and looked incredible and insane, and I was just dreaming of being out there with you guys. Yeah, you can't plan for that kind of thing, you know? Like, you can dream that you're going to have a beautiful trip with your kids and a cultural experience and all those things, but getting out there and experiencing something, even though with all the low points or the hard points or getting sick and stuff, and you're just like, you don't know what it's going to be, and that's kind of why we go on these adventures sometimes.
Absolutely. I feel like that's the whole point, you know? If you know what you're doing, like, why are you doing it? You
Yeah.
could just watch a YouTube video about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so before you went, were you guys biking very much? Do you guys also side question? Do you guys have bikes on you with you guys right now? And like, yeah.
When we first arrived in French Polynesia, we did have our bikes on with us because we were planning to go biking in the Philippines. But then we ended up living, we didn't want to bring them on the boat because they'll just rust terribly. So we left them in Tahiti with somebody who kept them in storage. And it was just a huge thing. It was just a constant issue when they were in Tahiti. Like we had to move them a bunch, and that's not the easiest thing to coordinate. But right now, so this time we did leave them in Boston. And 80 has her bike, and we have Julian's trailer because, yeah, we figure we can always rent our bikes somewhere, but getting them what they need is harder. So we've got the kid stuff, and then we just cobble it together. But I mean, French Polynesia, even though it's got these incredible, beautiful mountains, all the roads are pretty much around the edges and just pancake flat. So training is it's not even in quotations, it's just riding bikes. So we knew that would be a pretty brutal transition for 80, but she
Mm.
did really well. So
Yeah, tell us about that for 80. What was the system that you figured out for her, and how did it kind of play out for her in how many miles she could do a day, or just like what was her motivation? I'd be curious if you'd be willing to share about that.
oh man, 80 is like the most resilient person I've ever met in my entire life. Like, so she got this new bike for her birthday and immediately had a crash. Like we were up in Vermont in the hills, dirt roads, and there's just like these giant they were fixing the roads, and she was out biking with her friends, and they were all like, yeah, 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 and she just like took a huge digger. And we were like, oh no. The psychological impact of that can be for anyone can be really damaging. I mean, it was quite the accident.
Mm.
Like we didn't go to the hospital or anything. She didn't need stitches, but it was pretty close. Oh, but the next day she's like, I want to be on my bike. I want to go on a bike ride. And we're like, oh, okay, let's go on a bike ride. That's a great idea. So she just has the personality where she wanted to do this. Like we've been on a couple bike trips with her. We did the Baja Divide and we did the Continental Divide with her when I was pregnant. So I feel you. And she loved them. Like we had so much fun as a family. Like we constantly are telling those stories. So the idea of doing it herself on her own bike was like she was into it. She really wanted
And
to
she's
accomplish that.
6 right now?
She turned 7 on the bike trip. Yeah. And so we were just gonna go with that. We just were trusting that she could do it. And like at first she wasn't gonna be good. That's okay. But she would get better as we went along and probably extremely fast because she's a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we planned it too, so we'd be going downhill for the first like 50 miles, with just some like upsy downsies, enough like a little hills to give her some challenges and to prove to herself she's getting better. But the overall gradient was going down, so that gave her a bit of a boost. So
Mm.
yeah, the first we were going like 10 miles a day. Nothing. We are like, that our goal was 10 miles a day, and that was what we did the first day. And then I think the second day she was at 15 miles, and the third day it kind of just went up and up and up and up after that. And there were some low days. So we brought a tow rope. Like we went through all the different systems. We're like, should we bring 2 trailers? What happens if she does not have fun and does not want to be doing this? Do we need a secondary system for her? But she's just so big. We really can't. We couldn't pull her in a trailer up these mountains anymore. So we
Mm-hmm.
brought a tow rope, and she the other thing we weren't expecting about Kyrgyzstan is it was such a social ride. I mean, we really thought we were going to be alone out there. And because it's such a popular backpacking destination, I mean, we were just passing backpacker group after backpacker group all day long, every day. And every single person that met her was like, bravo, you're such a badass. And we're all like, yeah, you're such a badass, way to go, 80. But she got very committed to not getting help.
Oh, that's great.
So then I was like, hey, 80, we got to climb a mountain now. Like, let's put on the tow rope. And we call it, we're going to go warp speed. It's going to be awesome. You and me working together. And she's like, no, I'm doing it myself. And we're like, nobody wants you to climb a mountain by yourself. Like, that's not like the plan. The plan is for us to help you on the hard parts and do it together. And she was not having it. And so that was a very unexpected challenge that, there are some days you're like, I cannot believe you will not let me help you.
Wow.
But in general, that system worked really well. And at some point, like we turned a page with that, and she did let us go warp speed together and pump up some hills. Oh, and Julian did great. I felt like he would do great. He's just a rough and tumble kid. I mean, he really enjoys being on bikes. He enjoys everything about it. So my greatest concern with him was that he does not like sleeping under like blankets or layers or anything. And I was like, oh my gosh, is he not going to sleep in a sleeping bag?
Mhm.
What's going to happen when we have to be in sleeping bags? But it was fun. So
Okay.
that's pretty much. And I think after doing so many trips with 80, we know how to make it fun.
I want you to ramble on more about Kyrgyzstan for us.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a like an up and coming place.
Okay.
And so it's sort of got a lot of attention because of that. Yeah. But I mean,
Okay.
it's great. I love like community building. I think it's so great to I mean, Kyrgyzstan it's such a wonderful bike destination, even though its reputation is this like really hardcore place. And it is. I mean, there are routes you can take that are just like 26% up for like 3 days. But
Wow.
and there's no restock and anything like that. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm not encouraging it in a way to like just go into it as if you're bike packing or in I'm trying to think of somewhere easy, but there's always something hard in any destination. But it is incredibly family friendly. Like I said, I love that we could stop anywhere we wanted. There's like no restrictions on wild camping, and it's just so wide open. But it wasn't so isolated. I would say we were far more isolated when we were on the Baja Divide.
Hmm.
Like there was always a car passing, and I think because it's a nomadic culture, there's always a yurt around. And the yurts, I mean, they're incredibly self-sufficient, right? It's a mechanic's shop, it's a pharmacy, it's food, it's water, it's like whatever problem you have, you can always go and get help there. Again, I'm sure it's part of the culture of being nomadic is to like help strangers. Yeah, and then there's like between those two things alone, I think it's a great family bikepacking destination. And then you can pick routes that are like not that intense. There's lots of like roads through valleys and connecting little villages, and it's easy. It's not like it just wasn't as intense as I expected it to be.
Okay. That's so
So
cool to
that's good
hear.
for family.
And
Yeah.
and I'm curious, it feels like from your videos and from your what you shared, there was a lot of interactions with the locals and people. And I'm curious if you guys put the first foot forward or if it was just a very warm culture like you're saying and the people were very nomadic and you came across these people and you were able to join them or chat with them.
Like it was definitely not us putting the first foot forward. We never do.
Okay.
It's like really one of our shortcomings. But even like the very first day in Bishkek, the big city, we were at an Airbnb and we were walking to the grocery store and we crossed the park that was right in front of the building, and there was like a mom group, there with the kids and their toys. There's not a ton of playgrounds, and they like invited us to come play with them. And we sat down and two of the women could speak English, and then they ended up taking us out with their families to go do activities. Just like, yeah, very, yeah, welcoming people. And then once we were out in the countryside, we actually found it to be the same case in Mongolia. You think you're absolutely alone and nobody's around, but there are some horsemen somewhere who see you setting up your camp, and they always ride down to check you out and say hi. And sometimes you'll get a family and they want you to come back to their yurt and they're like, come eat. And you're like, oh, we already ate. And they're like, come have tea. And you're like, it's 9 o'clock at night. My children need to go to bed, but okay. And then they just want to, yeah. And then the kids will be interested in the animals. So then they'll show them the animals. And yeah, Google Translate goes really far. So that's nice.
What are the other
Yeah.
countries that
And
you've experienced that kind of hospitality and warmth of the people?
man, I feel like on the bikes it's a different level. Um,
Okay.
just because you're so out there and exposed. Honestly, everywhere we go with the kids, I feel like people are so kind. Like the Philippines, people are incredible to children. In the Baja, they were really great to 80. Julian wasn't born yet. I don't know. I can't think of any place that's unfriendly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Okay.
they
I just
were
feel like there's
they
some
were
places
a
and
few
cultures that
notches.
are
Yeah.
much more warm. Like I felt that in Oman. Like we were in
Yeah.
someone's house the first day we were there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that too about like the whole Middle East is like that. I would love to go there. That's cool. When were you there?
2021. Yeah, when Koa was a baby, a
Cool.
little guy. It was fun. It's such a cool country. It's like we're maybe our favorite place that we've ever been that we probably wouldn't move to, but like everyone needs to go there. It's so cool. And like the camping culture there is like so prevalent and the sand dunes and the desert. It's very, very warm there, but the ocean and
Mm,
everything is so incredible. So yeah, love that country.
so cool. Gonna put it on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Can I bike pack in Oman? That's the first thing I'm gonna look up after this call.
Yes. Yes.
I get asked quite a bit about the gear that we use while on international trips, especially about our lightweight playpen that we use. We'll bring that into the rock climbing crag or hike it into a beach and really use it for daytime naps anywhere. And so I put together a travel gear list, and I'm really hoping that this doesn't just cover like basic things that you would find on any travel list, but it's unique to the fact that these are specific things that might not be deemed as travel. And they are things that we have used over the last 5 years of traveling with our kids. So I've also included my kids' favorite activities for the plane and for road tripping as well. We have been really enjoying house sitting lately, and so I also put all the details in there. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, it is all linked in the show notes, so you'll find the link there. As a somewhat crunchy mom, I care about the fibers my kids wear. I haven't switched everything over yet, but the one material I am always looking for is merino wool. It comes from sheep and it's processed into fabric that's naturally quick drying, breathable, and temperature regulating. For base layers, especially ones my kids wear repeat on trips, merino wool is my first choice. So I wanted to tell you all about Wee Woolies. They're a Canadian company that specializes in kids' base layers, making ultra soft wool from New Zealand sheep. Their clothing comes in many fun colors, keeping kids warm when it's cold and cool when it's hot. For Let's Go Outside listeners, use the code Let's Go Outside to get 10% off your next Wee Woolies order. The link is in the show notes.
Okay, tell us about Eddie's birthday, and you guys were in this city and you joined another birthday party for a little 1-year-old.
No, what did we? Oh, okay. Well, you know what? The most amazing thing that happened is so we thought we were going to get to stay at like a guest house on 80's birthday eve, but we couldn't find it or it didn't exist or whatever. So we camped. That was fine. The next morning we woke up and it was like I'm saying, it's this giant social, and these bikers were like waving from the road at our tent, and we were like, oh hello. So we walked up to say hi to them, and it's this group that's going from I want to say Shanghai to Istanbul, something like that. But it was a supported ride, so they're all on like super lean bikes, and they invited us to go to their catered lunch, which was amazing. Like what a great thing for 80 to get juice and cookies on her birthday. Great start. And they were super sweet and all saying happy birthday to her, and they were a bunch of Canadians, so they were really nice. And then after that we left, and man, I wish I could remember, but it was just like a number of encounters with other bikers, and everyone was just high-fiving her to the max. She was just living her best life. And then we got to a town and there was a festival going on, which is also traveler magic. You're like, wonderful, thank you. And we tried to go to a guest house that we looked up on Google, and they're like, we're full, go to the town tourist office. So we're like, oh, what's this going to be? And so you go to the town tourist office, and the way they organize it is they figure out the number in your party of like people in your party, and they just have a list of guest houses in this town, and they just circle through it, which I thought was such a like nice communistic way to handle tourism. So they put us in the most lovely guest house. We were super comfy. And we walked around town and did blah blah blah. And then we came back and had our dinner. And there was two guys that walked in, and it's two drivers of tourist buses. They're also in these
Okay.
guest houses, and they were nice. They could speak a little English, and we had a nice chat and all this. And we had like a creme brulee, a camping creme brulee that we made into 80's cake for the night, and we blew out the candles and everything was lovely. And the guys were like, okay, good night, we're leaving. And we said, okay, bye. And so they went into like section of the house. And we were just sitting around chatting. And then they came back like 10, 15 minutes later and they had a doll for 80. And they brought another doll for Julian, which was just the sweetest thing I could possibly imagine. That these strangers like were really in the middle of nowhere. And I don't know where they got the doll from, or even the fact that they thought about getting a second doll for Julian. It was just incredibly sweet. We were so touched. Like, what a birthday. It was such a birthday surprise. And so, yeah, it made her so happy. And again, the generosity of people to even think, like, there's this little girl at our guest house. We're going to go get her a doll for her birthday and one for her little brother.
That's
so that was
special.
super special.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was in the middle of
Like
nowhere.
something that
Is
would
it
happen in Oman, right?
that is something that would happen in Oman. Yes. So this town is in the middle of, or this, tell us a little bit, like this is in the middle of nowhere, but there is guest houses. Are mostly people that are staying there backpackers or bikers, or is it a travel bus route?
There's not like travel buses per se. There are bus routes. Yeah, it's really close to a couple of super scenic spots.
Okay.
And it's literally people's houses. And I think when like things are happening, so there's this festival in town, they kind of shove their stuff into one part of their house and now they have a guest house. So that's the situation. But I can't imagine it ever. I mean, there's no restaurants.
Okay.
There's nothing but guest houses.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of other backpack. And so there's this festival. And I mean, there could have been like 100, look, maybe at most 150 people at this festival, at most. And yeah, it was really cool. It was nice. I think we got a lot of the experiences there, like showcasing at the festival, just from staying at the nomadic, camps when we're biking through. But it was still nice to see it. Still nice.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So majority of the nights though and days you were in your tent, and tell us, I believe you were in your tent. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. And
Yeah.
you were cooking for yourselves, and I want to hear a bit about the food.
Every parent will recoil at hearing what we fed our children for 5 weeks. I mean, biking's not known as being a healthy thing.
You need the calories.
Yeah, I really need that Snickers at 10 a.m. Yeah, so we stayed I think we probably didn't camp like maybe 2 or 3 times. I mean, but you're in just the most beautiful place ever. I don't know why. I think we're just so lucky to be experiencing it that way, to like wake up with these incredible views every day. This can also be cut, but Julian's favorite thing would be to like take off his pajamas in the morning, completely naked, go outside and find something to like pee on.
The boys are obsessed with that. They love that. That's so. I know my boys on our. So we just went to Wyoming on a little road trip and a canoe trip, and my boys were
Wyoming.
obsessed with finding like a pea tree, and they would just like, yeah, I don't know what I want to say on here either, but they would pee in it together and in this hole in the tree, and they would have to find a new one at each campsite, and it was just, I think it's just a boy thing and camping, and it's just like,
It's
yeah,
such a boy thing. Like, I'm gonna wake up and go outside and pee in a rock.
so good. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so special. I can't imagine. I mean, waking up in the yurt camps is also really nice, like whenever we stayed at a yurt. But I mean, yeah, the independence of it is just glorious, as you know from hiking. Okay, so what did we feed them? Oats with raisins and sometimes peanut butter. We came with a bunch of dehydrated fruit. So it started as dehydrated fruit. And as you run out of things, you get creative. At the very end, we would smash up cookie bits into the oatmeal.
That's so
That
good.
works.
You gotta do that.
And Julian was really into eating whole carrots. So that's what he snacked on mostly, like a little
That's
bunny
a great
rabbit.
snack.
Yeah, it's super heavy though, but completely nutritional, and we all can get behind that. And then a lot, peanut butter. Oh, it was sad. The day the peanut butter ran out was a very sad day. I don't even remember what we transitioned to because we couldn't find peanut butter there. And then pasta. If we happen to be in a market and we're going to go camp like shortly thereafter, we'd buy supplies for that night's meal. Something like frozen dumplings, or I don't know. I can't think of anything specifically, but it's a lot of pasta. The national dish there is it's actually the food. Like I haven't eaten much meat like in the last 30 years of my life, but when we're traveling, I have sort of the attitude that there's like only so much I can like manage in certain circumstances. So like if meat is on the table, that's what we're that's what we're going with. But anyway, their national dish is horse meat, which is chopped up, and ramen noodles, like a kind of ramen noodles, and it's actually like it's pretty delicious. Horse is really big there. So on Instagram, you always see pictures of people talking about these like beautiful wild horses and how they're just so free and roaming. But what they don't realize is most of them are actually like livestock. They're out there with the cows and the donkeys, and they're allowed to roam free. They let them graze freely. And then there's usually someone watching somewhere. But I'm sure some are wild, but yeah, the majority are actually for consumption.
Wow. Okay.
Which gives us the heebie-jeebies, but then I'm like, well, lots of cultures consume horse. It's like, it's just kind of an American, Canadian, actually lots of places too, but yeah, it is a meat people eat. It's okay.
Yeah, travel the world, and they normalize so many things that we don't, or you get those experiences. And I think that's part of it, teaching your kids like this is actually not that weird, but it's different for us. But I want to know if anyone is thinking like I want to go bikepacking in Kyrgyzstan, which is kind of how some people have been finding the podcast, is like keywords and different things and searching. I just want to know, like, what would you tell them, or is there anything that you would encourage them with or warn them with?
I would say I actually think it's a great destination for families, but in saying that, like, you have to go in knowing yourself and your comfort level, right? On the bikes and your biking. It's probably not where you want to go as your very first experience. Actually, hold on. Let me backtrack all of this. I think on one of our very first bikepacking trips with 80, we rode to a friend who is a much more experienced bikepacker and had done a lot with his son while out riding. His name is Cass, and he's a legend in the community, and he's done so much with his boy growing up. And we're like, would you recommend doing this, to us? And he was like, I don't think I'd recommend doing anything with kids to families. You have to go into it and make that decision for yourself, because you're asking questions about routes and places that are not the easiest. You have to be prepared and you have to be competent. Like, and what that means kind of depends, right? Like, you don't have to be an expert, but if you are an expert, like, you have to, I don't know how to make that. Each person needs to make that evaluation for themselves. But I would say, like, logistically, it wasn't that complicated. I felt extremely safe. I felt like the route was very manageable, like the ones we took. And there's lots of information about it. So, well, even that, I'm like, it's not like bikepacking Italy. There is information about it, which you can use. So you're not just going in blind. But we had such an excellent experience, and I can't wait to go back.
Okay, I'd love to hear that. Okay, I'm just like wanting to plan our trip right now. I love it when people trailblaze for us, and then they're just like, this is such a cool place. And I think it's so fair for you to be like, you know what, I'm not going to tell you to go there or not go there. You've got to decide, and I don't want you to like go on my word, but you know what you can do. You know what you're comfortable with. You know what your kids are confident in, and you can make those decisions. So that's such a good place to sit.
Yeah. And it's so relative to the person. But it was a great experience.
Okay, I want to loop back really quickly to you biking in the Baja Pregnant, because now that I have biked pregnant on a trip, I just am like, how pregnant were you? Did you have to do checkups? Do you feel like, I don't know, were you really uncomfortable? How was sleeping on the ground? I'm just curious if you can throw back to that point for us.
So it was the Continental Divide, and 80 was 4 years old, and we started when I was like 4 months pregnant, because just like with my first pregnancy, my first trimester was like not a good place. It was not fun. But second trimester, that's always life-giving. And so we started in Canada. The route goes from Banff to Mexico, and I felt great on the bikes. Actually, I loved moving my body every day. The position as my belly was growing too, I felt like was really great for my back. The biking I was super happy at. And towards the end, I biked until I was 8 months pregnant. And towards the end, like, weight would come off my bike and go to Dave's bike, as one would expect. Like, I started with a load pretty similar to how I would always ride. And then, at some point he got the food panier, but then he got the tent, and then he got the this, and then he got the that, and I got the sleeping bags and the down jackets and the whatever was light. And then the
Because you
camping
were
was
carrying a
horrendous.
human.
Like, yeah, it's only fair. Yeah, and then the camping was atrocious, right? Like, no pregnant person wants to sleep on a 1-inch mattress. But I'm fairly certain I would have been outrageously uncomfortable no matter where I was sleeping. So, it was okay. At least my days were life-giving and exciting for me. So,
It's amazing. Sometimes when you're in that stage, it's just like, okay, let's kind of set a goal or a milestone so that we can kind of have something to look forward to or work towards in those seasons of life where it's just like,
yeah.
okay, I've got like this many more months to go. But how long were you on the
Yes.
Continental Divide?
For about 4 months. Yeah, so I'm like 4 to 8 months of my pregnancy. Um,
4 months?
yeah, and so I did schedule my checkups along the way. Yeah, for about 4 months.
You're insane. That's crazy. Wow. You're so cool.
It felt like
Okay.
the right place to be. And we did try to find alternatives, like, because that was our plan, and then I got pregnant, and we were like, well, maybe we should deviate from the plan. And we looked at like the whole world of things to do, and that's sort of where we came back as the best thing to do. I don't know what's wrong with us. Yeah, there was wars and other places we wanted to go, or wildfires, or it was too hot or too cold, and then we couldn't bike ride, or just it was the perfect mix for me.
Oh my goodness, Eleanor, you're amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was good. And so I scheduled my appointments. Like, I kind of knew how many miles we would be going and when obviously the checkups would be. It was a little tricky because obviously a lot of practices don't want to have a one-off appointment. So but it worked out. And again, it was a bit of a leap of faith, just kind of trusting my body and that the pregnancy was good. And again, I wouldn't recommend it, but like, if you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, why not? If you've got
Why
that
not?
mental strength for that kind of thing, then go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we had just been biking the Baja Divide, so I feel like I was actually conditioned for it. Like, so that worked out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good thing to throw in there and say and be like, and we did prepare and we had been in this cycle for a bit, and to know that context I think
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't just like, strolling around home or something. Like, I had just come off of like 4 months of nonstop biking too, so it felt good
Okay.
to me.
So what's next? Do you guys have plans and dreams and anything booked for this coming year for biking?
Yeah, heck yeah, always. I think, yeah, we're, like I said, we're trying to like work on how we get our lifestyle more, because as we spend more time on the boat, we love the boat more. But we want to get off but have long enough time to do longer trips on the bikes and mix in like seeing family and doing some of the things everyone needs and loves doing. So yeah, we're going to New Zealand in a couple weeks to do a short trip. Actually, Dave and I biked in New Zealand when I was pregnant with 80. So it's a bit of a homecoming, but things are so different than it was even 7 years ago. Like, when I was pregnant with 80, we had to like buy a book about the roots of New Zealand, and now you can go online and there's so many, you can just like cobble together something pretty mild. And yeah, but it's really the only direct flight from French Polynesia.
Okay.
So that's why we're going.
I
And
love
it's
New Zealand.
epic and gorgeous. Yeah. Have you spent a lot of time there?
Yeah, it's probably like 5 months of my life. I would live there.
What?
I want to live there. Yes, for sure.
Oh my goodness. Wait, so where were you mostly? North Island or South Island?
Mostly North Island. I was doing a training program in Tauranga. And so it's like a holiday town. And then I did, with the girlies that I met there, I did like a month-long trip in a camper van in the South Island, which was like so fun.
Okay.
And then Daniel and I went back, must have been in 2018, and we hitchhiked the North Island together. And he taught me how to hitchhike, and we met so many amazing locals and saw some friends, and it was really, really special. And I'm just itching to always go back to New Zealand, except it's so expensive.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool that you have done it so many different ways, like the hitchhiking. And so when you hitchhike, do you have a tent? Is that
Yes.
what you? Okay.
Yes, and Daniel kind of
And did
showed
you
me his
most?
ways of so Daniel has hitchhiked across the US like horizontally like 3 times. So he is like
Wow,
this
3 times.
pro.
Whoa.
Yeah, he has
Okay.
been to 50 states. He just needs to go to Alaska through hitchhiking, and he just
Amazing.
sets up his tent in random spots. So he was teaching me the art of this. So we would sleep in like an orchard one night, and then we would sleep like, on very much a touristy spot under some trees, hidden away in this tent, and just wild camp
Yeah.
still, even though it's
Yeah.
like not a thing.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever hitchhiked with the kids?
No, I haven't. I don't know.
Okay.
But I
Is
feel
it
like
like
you'd get
something you
picked
would
up
do?
so easy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I think right place, right time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I can't wait to hear that. That would be such a fun, like crazy adventure. You might get a lot of hate for it, but
Yeah. This is the podcast where we promote hitchhiking with your children. Be in the right. I don't know. I'm not sure about
we
that.
don't promote anything on here.
No, you need to know yourself. You need to know your limits, know your children, and take your own risks and your own adventures. And the world's your oyster.
Yeah. Then the world's your oyster. We figured it out. Know thyself, and then you got it.
The coolest adventures ever are waiting for you. Yes.
Yeah.
So New Zealand, you're gonna do a trip, and then are you gonna
Yeah.
be on the catamaran the rest of 2026?
So, yeah, the way we did it next year, which, like I was saying, we kind of regret, is that we only have short breaks. And we did this for a number of reasons. So we have a month off in the beginning of the year, so we're going to go to New Zealand. And then we have another month off in the summer, but it's not even really a month off because we got to move the boat between trips and yada, yada, yada. So
Okay.
we might not even go anywhere. But it'll be, but then in October, when we do leave the boat, we have 4 months. And so we're going to plan something really good for that. I don't know what yet though, and it's tricky because it's October, which is limiting, but that's okay. That's okay.
Feel you there.
Like a lot of
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally. Oh, well, yeah, I feel like next October might be our next big trip too. So maybe we'll meet you somewhere.
The French
because-
Polynesia.
Oh, I would love that. Would love that. I'm not sure if we're up for a bikepacking trip yet with 3 children, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
I think we're going to take
Yeah.
this winter slow and see what happens, and then we might squeeze a little trip in March or April before Daniel's busy season, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
Be home.
So what's the like? Are you one of those families that's got the harness and you're skiing with the kids in the trailer behind you in the winter?
Oh, I will cross country ski with my kids. Yes.
You
But
will. Okay.
yeah, I'm not. We're not huge downhillers.
Okay.
We struggle with the cold, Daniel and I would say. I'm getting more into it, but because this year I'm like quite pregnant, skiing's kind of like off the list for me. I'm like walking is as fast as I go right now. Like there's nothing more than that really. It's like stretching, child's pose,
Yeah.
and walking. And so it's gonna be a slow couple months, and then I'm one of those people who loves like the first like postpartum period, and I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, it will be good again. That we can move a lot more and be more active and stuff, but we'll just see how that goes.
Yeah, and you know what? There's like the humbling lesson of parenthood is always to listen to yourself and give yourself grace. It is not why push yourself to do something that's making you unhappy when there's something that will make you perfectly happy, behind the other door.
Yes.
So if you are in that place, that is like the perfect place for you.
Totally. Behind the Other Door reminds me
Yeah.
of Hunt for the Wilder People, and that's my favorite movie. And because you're going to New Zealand, if you have not seen it, you need to look up Hunt for the Wilder People.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
like
I
got
will.
New Zealand humor, and they just say, "What's behind that door?" And it's like all the nummiest things, and it's just there's just like certain quotes that you brought up right there. So I have to recommend that to you. But as we close out,
That's
Eleanor,
okay.
would you share one story from your trip that you always want to remember and you want your kids to remember from Kyrgyzstan?
I don't know. I feel like the doll story is the one. we tell the most. You know what? There's just so many memories that come from these trips. um,
Mhm.
uh, and there's so many moments that like we use as callbacks, right? When we meet a new friend and like our kids are having a hard time, you're like, hey, remember those kids who just you couldn't speak to and you went around to their fishing spots with them, or they showed you around their home even though you couldn't talk. You know what my favorite moment besides the doll one, and but that's mostly about our interaction with other people. Um There's just this random moment where they were making up songs, like sitting in front of our camp about dumplings and poop. uh, but it's just this two of them are so sweet together and having the best time ever. And like they had this a whole dance and a song going. And I hope they carry that like bond with each other for all their lives, you know? I mean, there's so many moments where there's the bickering and the complaining and the not getting along. And then someone has something that like someone has a stick that somebody else wants or whatever. These moments when they're just like so in sync and having such a great time together doing nothing. I mean, I hope those are the things that they carry with them from all of our experiences, really.
Mm-hmm.
And also to be generous and kind to everyone else the way they are to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's so special for me right now. I feel that too. It's just like I just want them to be friends like they are right now forever.
Yeah. Are your kids like really good with each other?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're so good right now. They actually sleep in the same bed right now. They just are like, we are inseparable. And it's been since we were traveling in Italy this year for a couple months, and they always had to share a room or a bed or whatever. And then we came
Yeah.
home and they have a bunk bed, but they're just on the bottom. Their two mattresses are on the floor, and they just, it's just they just want to hang out together. So it's the sweetest thing ever.
Oh, that's the best. It's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all that matters.
Yes, I agree.
Sunsets and our children getting along.
Yeah, I agree. It's very satisfying for the mother's soul. Aw. Okay,
Yeah.
Eleanor.
How did do you feel like you did something? Hold on, I have some questions about this because
Yeah.
my children do not get along that great. Did you feel like you fostered this in some way?
Okay, you're okay. I don't I don't think so. I think that we had to say like you need to share, and they had to share, and then they just go on these shared experiences together. So there's definitely days where they're just like at each other the whole day. But I think that at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I tell them like you guys have to take care of each other. Like you're a team. We're not
Yeah.
always going to be with you, but you guys are a team, and you guys have to take care of each other and look out for each other. And so just trying to remind them of that again and again.
Oh, that's so nice.
Mm.
Um, I wonder, oh gosh, and it's really nice that they get along. I love that. So special.
Aw.
Teamwork it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One day our kids will meet and have a party.
This is this
Yeah.
it'd be so fun.
Yeah.
Um
Um, where can people follow along with you, Eleanor? I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. It's been so fun to talk and hear about your bike trip. You were my first repeat guest, which I just wanted to hear about your bike trip so bad that I'm so thankful that you came on and chatted with us again. And we'll have to share the link in the show notes to the first episode we did with you. I believe it came out in April, and you gave us the rundown of biking and living on the sailboat. And so go listen to that one if you haven't. But Eleanor, please share with us where we can get connected and come on your sailboat with you.
so we're basically just on Instagram at Design to Explore. And yeah, the easiest way, send me a message. I love enabling other people's trips. So even if people just want to talk about bike packing or sailing, how we got into things, yeah, it's my jam to make your dreams come true.
So good. Thank you.
Love. Thank you so much for having me. You're such a delight to talk to. You're so easygoing and warm and have just the best energy. And I cannot wait for us to meet one day in person.
I know. Yes, that will happen. I know it will.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you for being here. If it sparked something in you or made you think of a friend, would you please send it their way? Word of mouth is everything for this growing little podcast community, and I'm super grateful for everyone sharing. So, like always, I've dropped all the links of the places we've talked about and maybe any gear recommendations in the show notes, so check it out there, and we'll catch you next time.